Good evening, everybody, and welcome to a special edition of the Casper Planetarium's Astronomy Podcast. My name is Rod. Tonight is a special event, if you hadn't heard. Tonight is the rising of what they call the pink moon, which is just another name for the full moon of April. The moon won't actually appear pink. And it has brought us an interesting questions. It's also what we refer to as a supermoon. So we thought we'd talk a little bit about what that means and what you'll see and things like that. So here we've got our simulator here. Now let's start time forward here. And as we watch, the sky is going to get dark. And as we look towards the east, we'll be able to see the full moon rising above the horizon. Okay, now we're going to slow time down just a little bit. Now you'll notice here, when we see the full moon rising, it obviously, when it's close to the horizon, it does look very big. And unfortunately, that's just an illusion. And if you want to prove that to yourself, take a dime, go outside, and as you watch the moon, hold it at arm's length and see if you can cover the moon with the dime. And then if you wait until it's a little higher in the sky later this evening, go out much later, say 9-10 o'clock, and see if you can again cover the moon with the dime. Okay, it shouldn't change its size any. Okay, so now what is a supermoon? They've been talking about this quite a bit lately. A supermoon has to do not so much with the moon itself, but with its orbit around the Earth. Okay, for example, let's change here. The moon's orbit around the Earth is not a perfect circle. It is what we call an ellipse, as described by Johannes Kepler. Now, keep in mind, this is not to scale. This is absolutely not to scale. This is a highly what we call elliptical. But you notice that when the moon is over on the left, it is at what we call apogee, or farthest away from the Earth. When it's on the opposite side, it's at what we call perigee, or when it's closest to the Earth. Now, this doesn't always happen at new moon or full moon. Perigee is not always at perigee. Perigee doesn't always occur at full moon. This oval will kind of drift around as the Earth-Moon system goes around the sun. But what that means is when it's slightly closer to us, it means that things will appear slightly bigger. So let's go ahead and close this one. Oops, that's not what I want. Close this one. And here is the difference between the supermoon at perigee compared to an average full moon. Now you notice that isn't a whole lot bigger. And it's especially not that much different as seen by the human eye. The human eye really can't distinguish that small of a change in the moon's overall diameter. Okay, but it is measurable. It is something that is measurable in photographs. And this is a photograph. This and the other diagram I showed you from our friends at Astronomy Now. Courtesy shout out to them for letting us use the image here. And so this is what the supermoon would look like if you could take a photograph of it compared to another full moon. So if we keep watching, the full moon keeps rising, but you notice even when it goes higher in the sky, even as it goes higher in the sky in our simulator, we won't see it change its shape that much. But, as always, it's always fun to get out and look at the full moon. Interestingly enough, and I've had people ask this at the planetarium, they say, oh, this would be so great in a telescope. Actually, the full moon is the worst time, well, besides new moon, is the worst time to go out and try to look at the moon with a telescope, because the light is hitting it directly straight on and is reflecting straight back at us. So a lot of the cool features that we see on the moon, such as the craters and the edge of the mountain ranges and the Maria, look really, really flat. They don't have any definition because we lose all those shadows that give us depth. So if you want to see the moon with a telescope or a pair of binoculars at a better time, a few round first or third quarter are both better times. So that's a little bit about the supermoon that we will be experiencing tonight. Go out and have a look. And if people would like to send us their photographs, send them to us on our Facebook page, or email them to casperplanetarium.com, and we will post them on your pictures of the supermoon. We'll post them on our Facebook page. Thanks so much for listening. Have a great evening, and go out and get out there and look at the supermoon.